In the heart of West Africa, on May 13, 1913, a future leader was born, William Richard Tolbert Jr., a man whose presidency would drastically change Liberia. Immersed in the vibrant culture of Bensonville, Liberia, young William was born into a prominent Americo-Liberian family. His early life was a blend of the rich traditions of his homeland and the forward-looking aspirations of his family. His parents nurtured in him the seeds of leadership, sowing the roots of a journey that would eventually lead him to the helm of the nation. Education was a cornerstone of Tolbert's formative years. He attended Liberia College, where he delved into the realms of theology and education, earning a degree that would lay the foundation for his future endeavors. His thirst for knowledge was insatiable, leading him to further his education in the United States. There, his intellectual horizons expanded, instilling in him a global perspective that would later shape his policies as president. As Tolbert matured, a call to service resonated within him. He embarked on a political journey, serving in various government positions. He navigated through the intricate maze of politics, demonstrating a knack for leadership that did not go unnoticed. His acumen and dedication led him to serve as Minister of Finance and Vice President under President William Tubman, roles that prepared him for the challenges that lay ahead. When President Tubman passed away in 1971, Tolbert was chosen to fill the void. The mantle of leadership was passed on to him, marking the dawn of a new era in Liberian politics. A man of humble beginnings had ascended to the highest office, poised to steer the nation towards a new horizon. From a humble beginning, Tolbert was destined to rise, a journey that would eventually lead him to the highest office in the nation. In the wake of President Tubman's death in 1971, Tolbert found himself stepping into the shoes of leadership. The death of Tubman, who had been at the helm of Liberia for 27 long years, had left a power vacuum that Tolbert was tasked to fill. Tolbert's succession didn't come as a surprise. Having served as vice president under Tubman, he was the natural successor. But stepping into the shoes of a man who had ruled for almost 3 decades was no small feat. The political climate was charged, expectations were high, and challenges were many. Tolbert's initial days in office were marked by a cautious optimism. He was a seasoned politician, having served in various government positions including that of the Minister of Finance. He was known for his acumen and was respected among his peers. But the question remained, could he fill the void left by Tubman? The task was daunting. Liberia at the time was a nation grappling with socio-economic disparities. The ruling True Whig Party, which Tolbert was a part of, was seen as the party of the elite Americo-Liberian minority. The indigenous majority, on the other hand, felt marginalized and disenchanted. Tolbert, aware of this simmering discontent, knew he had to tread carefully. He also knew that he had to be different. He had to be a leader who could bridge the divide. And so, he set out to do just that. His first steps were marked by a series of economic and social reforms. He initiated land redistribution programs, invested in infrastructure and education, and set about modernizing Liberia. Critics, however, were quick to point out the concentration of power within the True Whig Party and allegations of corruption within the government. Nonetheless, Tolbert pushed on. He was determined to steer Liberia on a path of progress and modernity. His policies, though controversial, were indicative of a leader eager to effect change. Stepping into power, Tolbert was ready to leave his mark on Liberia, for better or worse. And so began a presidency that would be remembered, debated, and scrutinized for years to come. Once in power, Tolbert wasted no time in implementing his vision for a better Liberia. He stepped up to the plate with a clear-cut agenda, focusing on both domestic and foreign policies that he believed would propel this West African nation to new heights. On the home front, Tolbert was relentless in his pursuit of economic and social reforms. He initiated groundbreaking programs aimed at redistributing land, a move designed to level the economic playing field and give more Liberians a shot at prosperity. He also ramped up investments in infrastructure and education, laying the groundwork for a more developed and literate Liberia. But Tolbert's presidency wasn't just about domestic affairs. On the international stage, he made waves with his non-aligned stance and his commitment to strengthening ties with other African nations. He was a fervent supporter of Pan-African initiatives and organizations, seeing them as key to fostering unity and cooperation across the continent. One of his most notable foreign policy achievements was hosting the 1979 Organization of African Unity Summit in Monrovia, Liberia's capital. This event, which brought together leaders from across Africa, underscored Liberia's position as a key player in the Pan-African movement. Yet, Tolbert's presidency was far from a smooth sail. His reforms, while ambitious, were met with criticism. Detractors pointed to a concentration of power within the ruling True Whig Party, and allegations of corruption within the government were rife. These controversies, coupled with economic challenges and growing discontent among various sectors of Liberian society, cast a shadow over Tolbert's tenure. Tolbert's presidency was characterized by a bold vision, but it was not without its critics and controversies. His time in office was a testament to the complexities of leadership, a balancing act between progressive ideals and the realities of governing a nation. Despite the challenges, Tolbert's vision for Liberia left an indelible mark on the nation's history. Despite his ambitions, Tolbert's presidency was not destined to last. As the 1970s unfolded, the storm clouds of discontent gathered ominously over the Liberian horizon. Amid allegations of corruption, nepotism, and economic mismanagement, the societal fabric was tearing at the seams, and the winds of change were blowing in a direction Tolbert hadn't anticipated. In April 1980, a dramatic shift in power occurred. Master Sergeant Samuel Doe, a member of the Liberian military, orchestrated a military coup, a seismic event that shook the very foundations of Liberia's political landscape. Doe accused Tolbert of presiding over a government that was riddled with corruption, favoring family members and close associates in the distribution of power and benefits. The coup was swift and brutal. In the early hours of April 12th, the presidential palace was stormed by a faction of the military. Tolbert, the man who had once been Liberia's beacon of hope, was arrested. His arrest wasn't just the downfall of a president. It signaled the end of over a century of Americo-Liberian rule, a political epoch that had been marked by inequality and the marginalization of indigenous Liberians. The coup, however, did not stop at the arrest. A violent turn of events unfolded, and Tolbert, along with several members of his cabinet, was assassinated. This shocking event marked the end of Tolbert's presidency, a reign that had begun with the promise of change but ended in a bloodbath. The downfall of Tolbert was not merely the end of a presidency, but it also sparked a new era in Liberia, an era marked by political instability, civil conflict, and a military regime under Samuel Doe. The echoes of Tolbert's downfall reverberated through the corridors of Liberia's history, shaping its future in ways that were both profound and devastating. In a brutal turn of events, Tolbert's presidency was abruptly ended, sparking a new era of turbulence in Liberia. Tolbert's presidency left an indelible mark on Liberia, a legacy that continues to be a subject of debate. His tenure in office was a time of change, of dreams woven into the fabric of Liberia's future. He was a man of vision, one who sought to propel his country into a prosperous future, and he did leave his mark on the nation's path to modernization and social development. Under his stewardship, Liberia saw significant investments in infrastructure and education. His land redistribution programs aimed to break the chains of economic disparity and create a more equitable society. Yet the path to progress is often fraught with challenges, and Tolbert's presidency was no exception. His administration drew criticism for the concentration of power within the ruling True Whig Party, with allegations of corruption tainting the government's image. His rule was marked by political repression and economic challenges, leading to growing discontent among various sectors of Liberian society. Yet it was his assassination that sent shockwaves through the nation and the world. This tragic event marked the beginning of a turbulent period in Liberia's history. The years that followed Tolbert's death were characterized by political instability and civil conflict. The military regime under Master Sergeant Samuel Doe, who led the coup against Tolbert, further plunged the country into a dark era of turmoil. Assessing Tolbert's presidency is a complex task. Some view him as a reformer who sought progress for Liberia, while others point to his administration's shortcomings and its eventual downfall. Yet, regardless of the lens through which one views his presidency, there's no denying the impact he had on Liberia's history. While his presidency ended in tragedy, William Richard Tolbert Jr. remains a significant figure in Liberia's history, a leader whose story continues to resonate in the nation's collective memory.